Get in there. Come on. That's more like it. Get in. This is your instant reaction to Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1. Make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're on the march to 6,000 subscribers. Get your comments in and your thoughts on today's game. Now, we made hard work of it yet again, but it's a massive win and keeps us in the hunt for the European spots, maybe even the Champions League spots. That's how big this victory was today. And we had to come from behind yet again, but we'll get more into that. We'll get more into the performances as well, individual performances, some that grew into the game and got better as the game went on because we started the game really, really, really poorly. Let's talk through the starting lineup first. Quite a few changes from Unai Emery, obviously balancing up the squad and, you know, we've got the game on Tuesday, we had the game on Wednesday. So looking at making a few changes, obviously, Emi Martinez in goal, Matty Cash at right back, Konsa and Mings the centre backs, with Ian Matson coming in at left back, Tielemans and McGinn in front of them. And then we had Asensio, we had Rodgers, Ramsey and Watkins up front. So, it was Rashford not starting, which was a little bit of a surprise for everyone. But, you know, you've got to balance up the squad. Ramsey came on and did well the other day. And we've got options off the bench. Leon Bailey back on the bench, Daniel Marlon on the bench, and Rashford on the bench. More on that in a bit. But we did not start the game very well. Chelsea making the pitch really, really big. And they were really catching us out, playing some big switch passes, then having lots of room in the midfield because McGinn was having to chase everywhere. Tielemans was having to chase everywhere. And Asensio was the game wasn't tight enough for Asensio to pick the ball up into little areas. And he was getting dragged all over. And Ramsey and Rodgers just could not get on the ball. And it was Chelsea who, like I say, started the game really, really, really well. And they scored in the 9th minute. Yet again, Villa letting crosses in, not being sharp enough into the tackle, not stopping the player from getting momentum. And it was Neto who started the game really well, getting the ball on their right hand side against Ian Matson, beat him all ends up. Didn't really have to do anything to beat him either. Got a lot of space. I think Matson got caught a bit in no man's land as the ball came over to Neto. Then he let him get some momentum. Ball comes across. Emi Martinez misses it. It's fizzed across, and Enzo Fernandez bundles the ball in, and he scores yet again against Aston Villa. And it really did look like Chelsea were going to control the game and really take it from Aston Villa because they were keeping possession. They were stopping on the ball, and Villa weren't putting enough pressure on. They weren't trying to get in their faces or giving them too much respect, I would say. And Kunku was getting on the ball. Palmer wasn't really too much getting on the ball. It was more Pedro Neto, and they had quite a few dangerous attacks that were, I guess, trying to suck us in and then really hit us on the counter. And we were giving the ball away at times. Tyrone Mings, yes, we know how good he is in terms of his leadership qualities, but too slow on the ball, too slow to get the ball moving into the spaces. And yeah, we did grow into the game though. Ollie Watkins having a good effort down the right-hand side. When we did pick up the ball in transition, Tielemans was getting the ball into Asencio quite quickly, and Asencio was picking up some nice little areas in the pitch. And he did this time, turned on the ball, plays Watkins in down the right-hand channel. Watkins takes a touch and hits the ball, and it's saved by Jorgensen. And then we have a couple of efforts in and around the box, but nothing really to trouble the goalkeeper too much. And like I say, we're getting more into the game. Another effort down the left-hand side this time after Chelsea give the ball away. Watkins is one-on-one, I think, against Colwill. Does a little step over, takes it away from him, and then hits it into the side netting. But you could see that Villa were getting into the game, but Chelsea were really, really dangerous on the break. Half time, though, 1-0 to Chelsea. And Unai Emery makes a substitution at half time with Jacob Ramsey coming off. And Marcus Rashford coming on. And I've said this about Rashford in our match preview with Luke, that just having someone of the caliber of Marcus Rashford really does put doubt into defenders' minds. And even though he didn't touch the ball too much in the start of the second half, you knew there was a threat there. You knew there was pure raw pace there, and it kind of gave Villa a little bit more momentum to get into the game. And yeah, we started more to grow into the game, more efforts, more kind of attacking thrust, more territory, but nothing really too much to show for it. And I did put in our group that we had zero chance of winning that game, but it was on the 57th minute we managed to get our equaliser. Ball on the right hand side. I think it was from a set piece. Maybe gets cleared. Matty Cash picks it up, cuts back onto his left foot, puts the ball to the back post. Rashford had timed his run to perfection, takes a touch, puts it across the box, and then Marco Asensio is there to bundle it in. I think it might have been Reece James on the line trying to clear it, but wasn't good enough. And the linesman, though, gave it offside. Went to VAR and they overturned it, but it took a long time to overturn it. It was clearly onside by Rashford, but a really well-timed run. And that was then Villa really did take the momentum then. We didn't have too many shots on target, though. Didn't have too many efforts, but we were pressing. And I think the efforts that Chelsea put into that first half started to take their toll. Enzo Fernandez was putting fouls in. Caicedo was getting wound up, and John McGinn was excellent in that second half, really getting in their faces, putting big tackles in, winding up Cucurella, winding up Fernandez, winding up Caicedo, and that's exactly what we need from John McGinn. And then we cranked it up, but it was Chelsea who really, really should have took the lead. Ball played through to Cole Palmer. He timed his run perfectly. He's through on goal, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Everyone's slipping and sliding in front of him. I think Matson slips. I think Emi Martinez slips. But Konsa keeps his head and runs beyond Martinez. Cole Palmer, we'd managed to hold him up a little bit, but he still managed to get the shot. But thankfully, Ezri Konsa was just in front of the line to control it and actually play it out. And I think we actually went on an attack then and nearly scored ourselves. Key substitutions for Aston Villa. Lamar Boharder had to come on for Tyrone Mings, who was really struggling in that second half, tried to give it as much of a go as he could, but Boharder came on and did really, really well, put one big challenge in on Pedro Neto. Really, really good, really solid in that defence, and he's really starting to find his place in the team. Andres Garcia came on as well, looks good down that right-hand side, gave us some attacking thrust, and then Bailey and Marlon came on for the last 15, and this is, I think, what Emery wants. He wants finishers in this game, and they were really sharp. Bailey down that right-hand side, the first 2 or 3 times he touched the ball, getting down that right-hand channel, putting the balls into the box. We didn't quite get anything on the end of it, but you could see the intent. And then on the 89th minute, we have a corner. Ball goes into the box. I think it comes back out to Rashford, and then he puts a lovely fizz ball in to Marco Asensio on the volley, and it goes under the goalkeeper, who had previously made a fantastic save off Daniel Marlon. So, obviously he made a great save, but he will certainly look at himself as a really, really, really poor goalkeeping effort. Tries to dive down, doesn't get his body behind the ball, and it goes through his hands and over the line. And cue euphoria in Villa Park for the Villa fans, and Marco Asensio with his second goal and the winning goal. And we had to put up with 7 minutes of injury time. But we saw it out really well. I think Chelsea had run out of steam, to be honest. They were just passing the ball across the back. Didn't really have any more efforts too much apart from that. And yeah, great win for Aston Villa. Puts us back up. We were 10th before the game started, and it looked like we were going to stay in 10th, certainly for long periods of that game. But we've now jumped up into 7th position, 1 point behind Chelsea now. Yes, lots of teams have games in hand on us, but we got the vital point against Liverpool. Now we've got to go into Crystal Palace on Tuesday, who are in good form themselves. We have to get a win there. We've got fresh players. We've got players coming back. Players getting minutes in their legs, Cash getting more minutes in his legs, Bailey coming on today, Marlon looked really sharp, and he can play up front, he can play off the right. We've got options now. Can we get a couple of bodies back in that central midfield area? Because Tielemans at the start of the game was giving the ball away quite a lot, and I wouldn't mind maybe giving him a little bit of a rest, but he came into the game more and more in that second half. I think Chelsea really did press us and really put pressure on us, but credit to McGinn and Tielemans for stepping up in that second half, because they really did. And John McGinn really drove that forward. Rashford, though, he's so dynamic, so electric, and what a move it's been for him. The first 3 or 4 games, he's just come in and he's taken to it like a duck to water. Every time he gets the ball, he wants to attack. He wants to beat his man, and it's just, you're excited every time he gets on the ball. And I really love it if he could score a couple of goals now just to top it off. But 2 assists today, fantastic, and he really did change the game for us. Asensio, not so good in the first half, but you can see the quality that he's got. You can see when we get the ball in and around him, we get players in and around him, Marlon around him, Rashford around him, that quality comes through. And yeah, it was just a really good second half performance, and I think we did just about deserve the win. Although that key moment with Cole Palmer missing that opportunity, I think was the turning point of the game where we really did think we could go on and win it. And it's a huge win for Villa, huge win. But I think it shows now the quality that we've got, the signings that we've made in this January window. We can turn to the likes of Asensio, turn to the likes of Rashford, Marlon. We've got Bailey coming back into form now, coming back into form and fitness. Rodgers looked a bit tired today and had to come off injured, but he can have a couple of games rest and then he can get himself fresh. Ramsey, we need to find a spot for him because he's coming on and doing really well in certain games, but today didn't quite get into the game enough, and I felt like a couple of players were hiding. But then when we bring these other players on, they want the ball, they want to get involved in the game, they want to score goals. So look, don't want to get carried away. We have to back this up now on Tuesday night. If we can put back-to-back wins together, we can really put ourselves into great shape for a European spot, a top 6 spot, maybe push for that top 5. Not getting carried away yet at all, but you're looking at the teams around us, all dropping points, all have to play each other. We've got some big teams at home. We've beaten Chelsea. Can we beat Newcastle? Can we beat Nottingham Forest? Can we beat Fulham? All these teams have to come to Villa Park. And these are all the teams around us. We've got to play Bournemouth as well. So, yeah, some big games to come in this last 11 games of the season. And it's going to be interesting, really is. But we've got some great signings, and the signs are looking good in terms of these players coming in and understanding the brief and taking it on. Rashford and Asensio winning that game for us today, which is hugely important. Man of the match, you've got to say Asencio, haven't you, for his 2 goals? But I thought Rashford really did do fantastically well in that second half. I thought McGinn grew into the game in that second half as well. But I'd probably plump for Asensio. But I don't think the players that started, even though some of them grew into the game, I think it was really the key was the substitutions tonight that really did swing it in Villa's favour. I don't think Chelsea did as well with their substitutions. Sancho came on and was anonymous. I know Tosin had to come on for them at the back because they had an injury as well. So I don't think their substitutes did anything really. And I know they're lacking up front, and you could really tell that after they got that goal, there wasn't too much from them in terms of a real attacking intent, real attacking threat. I think they wanted to try and see the game out and try and catch us on the break, which they do look dangerous at times. They do look quick at times, but yeah, so good to get that win for us. That's it from me. Might be back with the boys for a full match reaction where we kind of go through all the performances, all the key moments in the game. So do stay tuned for that. I will definitely do talking tactics with Gareth as well. So please stay tuned for that. Make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Help us continue on the road to 6K. We also passed 1 million views on this channel. So stay tuned for some posts on our socials. Stay tuned for a special 1 million views competition as well. So make sure you stay with the channel. Thank you for watching, and as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.